Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We are Steve Walls, Darren Smith with the W Show. Darren's with the Ship on 18 WHB Sports Radio. The Afternoon Gridiron. We're back for another day reporting about Chiefs training camp. We just got off the Zoom press conference with defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo and a couple of Chiefs players. So, Darren, your takeaways from Coach Spagnuolo today?
My best takeaway is that Mr. Walls hit a grand slam with his question that he got, and I think you ended up having the last one. Was it you had the last one, or was it Seren? But I think it was you. But you had a real good question that I know we'll talk about in just a minute. But Steve, you can tell that Steve has been a head coach in this league, and that he's very comfortable behind the microphone. Mm-hmm. He gives you a lot without giving everything away. But he's real open. He's real descriptive, in the questions or in his answers that you give to him, and he really doesn't leave a lot to wonder or ponder about. So he's real good with that, and just a real awesome guy.
And it's the first time that we've been able to talk to Steve Spagnuolo. Of course, he's a defensive coordinator for the Chiefs team. He's always that animated personality, so to speak. And like you said, he's been a head coach, so he's very comfortable with talking to the media. He always has some thought-provoking answer or response to every question that you have. And as you talked about, I did have a question for a coach. And, it was basically, we talked to Tyrann Mathieu earlier this week. Mm-hmm. And Tyrann said that he was grateful for Coach because he knows exactly what buttons to push. However, they've won the Super Bowl now. So
how do you keep that motivation, that drive going forward?
How difficult is it? Because they've had success. So now, it's like the stuff don't stink and you out there, you know the scheme, you've been going through it. So how do you continue to do that? And Steve, it kind of threw him for a loop because he was like, wow, that was a great question. And so I don't think he's really thought about it.
Yeah, he's never thought about it. No one's brought it up before. Mm-hmm. And which is interesting because, I mean, you could have looked at the situation with Steve when you were the DC in 2007. But if I remember correctly, he may have gotten a job right after that, so he might not have been in a situation to answer a question like that at that time. But no, that was a real good question. And look, and the fact that you were able to bring that up, because I know you kind of jumped on a little just a tad bit late from the thing, and you had. You were wondering had any question like that been asked. I told you hadn't, so I was just waiting on you to go with it, because I was like, okay, Steve, gonna get a good one in on this one. And when you did, man, like some people call it a home run. I thought that was a grand slam because one, just his answer and his response to it was like, one made him pause, made him put some thought into it, and then he answered it, but he really couldn't answer because because he hadn't had a chance to really think about it. And now when he goes back, that's something that he's going to be thinking about throughout training camp and maybe throughout the year, on trying to press the right buttons and how to go about doing it, because this is the first time they've been in a situation like this. And so, man, that was a real good question that you had asked to him. And I wish I would have thought about it, and I think about it till now. Question that I would have posed to him, but look, man, you did a hell of a job with that question, and the fact that that he's going to go back and not only put more thought into it, but also think about the buttons to try to push going further. That's something that between now and really throughout the year, Steve, that we need to keep an eye on.
And it's true, because and the reason I asked is because, of course, Tyrann said that, but then it had me to thinking, okay, well, Chris Jones just got a new deal, right? He's won Super Bowl. He's, all pro, all these things. Of course, Frank has a new deal, won a Super Bowl. Then you still have Tyrann, who just came last year, as well as Frank, and they both have big money contracts. Well, these guys have won what they set out to do, and so what do you do? How do you go and motivate these guys? Because the motivation in turn has to be within themselves to get back and run it back as what they've been saying. So, it's going to be tough because, the motivation has to come from within.
Well, I agree 1,000% with that. I would also say that the fact that they know that they're going to be at the top of people's lists, and they know that they're going to get their opponent's best. Like you said, it'll be something inside themselves that they'll want to go through, but also because they want to go back. I think that these players, as we've heard them say, are willing to make the sacrifice to do what they have to do to make sure that they put themselves in a position. They're obviously working out. Obviously, some of the players have got nicked or whatever. Muscle tissue, whatever we call it now. But they're doing what they're supposed to do when they leave the facility. I mean, we will talk about just a little bit with Willie Gay, obviously, but like the rookies, they know that when they leave, they ain't got to study hard. They can go home, stay out of large establishments and everything like that. So, it helps to me by when you win. The sacrifice that you made to win, those are the sacrifices that you will continue to make to continue to to reach the mountaintop. And then not only that, obviously, so some of the players could be in a contract situation where you kind of need to be doing the right thing so you can get paid as well.
And you mentioned that, and Chad Henley stepped to the podium after Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
And a couple of things that I've taken away from what he said is just that, the contract he just signed to come back. He was asked the question, why didn't he
sit it out?
Yeah. Why didn't he opt out for this season? And so he said that he made a decision. He and his family, they're young, and he knows exactly what his family's doing. He knows the moves that they're making. They wear masks, and he's not going to do anything on himself
right.
to have to be away for 2 weeks and then possibly lose a job.
Oh, I will say that Chad looks a lot older than he looks. He looks like he got some wear and tear on his body. But no, I mean, look, you brought up a good point. Obviously, and that's a lot of that stems from Clark Hunt down to Brett Veach down to Andy Reid, where they take after. And I think Chad mentioned, when I think someone asked him about what's bringing people to Kansas City minus the opportunity to win, and that is, of course, Andy Reid, and then of course, when you got an offense led by Patrick Mahomes and team by look, the biggest thing is that everybody has bought into what Andy Reid is cooking, whatever he's selling, and look, players have bought into it, and so the fact that you have an organization led by Andy Reid. And it's shown that if you play well and you do what you're supposed to do, you'll get paid via Brett Veach. Here's the thing: it's not hard to do the right thing. You have to want to do the right thing, but it really isn't hard to do the right thing. Again, when you remember the Kansas City Chiefs, if you practice, stay out of trouble, do what you're supposed to do on and off the field, everything will work out fine. I mean, and then like you got
there's one caveat to that though. When you have these young guys who are new to money, these rookies, young millionaires. I mean, take Mecole Hardman, for example.
Yeah,
a lot of success last year. His name is out there as one of the best young receivers in the NFL, or in kick returners for that matter. You don't want to sit at home, but you have to. But it's hard when you're new to money and you want to go out there and floss a little bit, flex a little bit, but
you can always bring the party to you too. Now
but here's the thing though, you don't know where Billy and Susie are coming from, so you can't really do that, and so you're just sitting at home. It's only so much Call of Duty you can play.
Well, there's one thing I will say: money only enhances who you already are. So I mean, now obviously McCole before the season wasn't out with Diamond Grills and all that stuff. It was after the Super Bowl and after stuff. You're like, come on, man. Okay, you got a little bonus money, got a little Super Bowl money. Now you go do, okay. I get it. I was young at one time too. But that being said, though, again, because you did not do that on the way to winning a championship, and you know what it takes. Yes, you had success, but you got a chance to enjoy the success right after the Super Bowl. But you can't keep trying to you cannot keep trying to have that type of lifestyle 6 months after the fact when you need to refocus. So I say that to say that there's a time and a place for everything, and the time for them to do all this stuff was, right after the Super Bowl for the next 4 or 5 weeks, leading up to the Big 12 before the shutdown happened. But now that you're back in training camp, you have to shift your focus back to the team, not to the eye, but to the team. And this is what, and again, it all comes to me, it stems from the buy-in of Andy Reid.
And you talked about focus. We also talked to Tano Passanio, second-year player, second-year defensive lineman, coming into his, like I said, second year. He's now has a boost of confidence.
Yeah,
and he says he knows what they are and what they need to do to win.
Well, and now it helps when you're at the beginning versus the tail end of your career to get a taste of the success. Obviously, if you're someone, let's just say if Derek Johnson could have been on the team and gotten won a Super Bowl, he would have retired, and that would have been like the cap off of his career. But when you're a young player like him, like McCole coming in, you got a taste of success. You don't know how hard it is to get there, but you do, because you got there, obviously your first year out there. Now now that you've gotten a bite of that apple, you want to keep coming back for more. You want to treat, if you're someone like Pascal, you want to treat the Super Bowl like the Golden Buffet. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, you want to keep coming back because you like it. I mean, you the king of the hill, you the king of the mountaintop. You and I, we've been covering the Chiefs for a long period of time. We thought we were going to Atlanta 2 years ago, seeing the Chiefs going up against the Rams again for Super, and it didn't happen. And so, but then then you start to wonder, well, damn, we got close. Are we ever going to get over that hump?
Right.
And look, we had question marks throughout the playoffs because look, when we're down 24-0 against the Texans, man, you look at just like, man, this cannot be. You know what I'm saying? And then the next week, AFC Championship game, okay, we're down 10-0 to Tennessee, but we saw what Tennessee was able to do in those two games leading up to the AFC Championship game, but we also knew, okay, once the offense gets to clicking and once we take the lead, everything else is going to take care of itself. So then we're just making sure, okay, what day are we going to Miami? All that being said, again, when you're a rookie and you win a Super Bowl and you come in the next year, you don't know what it's like to lose. You don't know what it's like to have heartbreak because you wasn't here 2 years ago for the AFC Championship game. So all you know is success, and that's what you want to continue to try to go to.
And you weren't around the last 50 years for that matter.
Exactly.
And I mean, and even still, I mean, we understand because now that we've been a part of this winning organization and going to Miami and seeing everybody, oh, you guys from Kansas City media, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of, I want to get back to that. I want to go to Tampa and get back to it.
Exactly. Well, it's funny you say that because Southwest, just so you know, Southwest already got booked out. I already got my tickets now, the round trip. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not so confident they'll even have a Super Bowl this year. That's for another day, for another story.
But
anyway.
I got the tickets cheap though, so for now.
So Tano also he was asked a question of just going up against Mahomes and the way that Mahomes is able to continue plays, and how does it help the defense? And he said it helped them, with the relentlessness of being able to continue their plays, and that because not every quarterback or not every offense is going to be able to continue on with the play like Mahomes. So they're able to continue plays and go all out for that amount of time. It seems that much easier when the actual games come.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking when you said it, got me thinking back to Spagnuolo, because they're able to go full speed, but they just can't hit Pat, and so both sides are getting at it, and they're going full speed. I think obviously, which is kind of why we get a rash of injuries that have taken place over the last few days, but. That being said, the fact that these guys can go at it full speed and still, well, now that I think about it, I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping, but the question that I had that I was going to ask, I think Matt Derrick ended up asking Spagnuolo was about, the fact that players were injured coming into the season last year, and it wasn't until the latter part, maybe after Mexico City, where the team started getting more and more healthy, and so the defense started looking like what we were expecting it to look like. What's the difference between that versus now they had now they gotten a year underneath their belt in your defense. What do you expect week 1 versus, like week 12 or something in the NFL with your starters and stuff like that? So I know that's kind of just way off subject, but that was what I was thinking about. Wanted to ask Spagnola when we had him on earlier, but Matt Derrick got the question before I did. But all that being said, the fact that these players can go at it full speed and they're able to get the work in should only make them better. And again, when you go against an offense that can score 35, 40 points a game at ease, literally, defensively, that should only make you better because you know what to expect going against this squad. And if you can at least contain this squad, then there's no excuse for you not to be able to be successful against the other teams, maybe some high-powered teams that you're going to face, including the Baltimore and the Houston Texans week number 1.
And even when you look at rookies, like Willie Gay talked earlier, and he said, going against his offense, his high-powered offense, especially Patrick Mahomes, he said not everybody is able to do the stuff that Patrick Mahomes is able to do. Yeah. So that's making him a lot better. He said that the details of just everything is what he's able to pick up on. And so, and he's a guy that should be, he's projected to be a linebacker that starts coming up this season.
Yeah, I think he told us he's practicing at 2 different spots, base and I think Willie, I think he said, or it could have been Mike. I'm sorry, but no, I expect a lot from Willie Gay, and to his point, I think the only other team I would say that practices or that can get good practices in like we are doing is probably the Baltimore Ravens because of Lamar Jackson's skill set. Maybe to an extent the Houston Texans, but I think more so Lamar Jackson, with his running and throwing ability. But all that being said, no, Willie Gay liked the way, I love the way that, he addressed things. And look, again, just like we said about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a lot is going to be expected of them, but it's not going to be too much pressure. Look, when you're Willie Gay or you're Clyde, you're not going to be expected to, be that rookie of the year, so to speak, type player. You just need to contribute.
Well, no. I would say Clyde there's a lot of expectation for him.
Well, no, it's actually, but what I'm saying is that we're not going to be looking at him in the mode of a Kareem Hunt. I'm saying right. That's what I mean by that. Like Kareem Hunt, granted, no one expected much of him, but once Spencer Ware went down, he took the starting role, and then he had that big game in the season opener against the New England Patriots, and that's when things kind of took off. Because we're not dependent upon the running game, kind of like we were, kind of a balanced deal when Alex Smith was here. We're more dependent on Patrick's arm than we are the running game. So,
but Chiefs fans are tough critics, and Kareem Hunt wasn't drafted in the first round.
That's true. Well, look, hold on. The one thing we know about Chiefs fans when it comes to Clyde, it's going to be this. Make sure you can block. Don't get Patrick hurt by you missing a blocking assignment, and don't fumble the football. I think outside of that, I think Chiefs fans will be a little more realistic because they're going to be expecting to see Patrick sling the ball. They're not going to be, expect them to, hand the ball off too often. Because trust me, if you send the ball off, they're going to be thinking like, man, what the hell was wrong with the, is the defense doing something that we can't go down the field on? So that's why I say it like that.
And another thing that Willie Gay had talked about is, and it's what we've been saying is since Patrick got his deal, Chris Jones got his deal, and more recently Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Willie Gay said, he was asked the question, he sees all these guys getting these contracts with a lot of zeros behind them, and he's still in his rookie deal. What is his thought when he sees that? And his response was, he knows that if he balls out, that he's going to get a deal. And that's what he's going to look forward to doing 3 or 4 years down the road. As long as he does what he needs to do and takes care of what he needs to take care of, he knows. But that's what we've been saying is that these players coming in understand that if you do what you need to do, you're going to get paid.
And the other thing is, look, I think right now he's only gotten a signing bonus. I don't think he's gotten an NFL paycheck. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, look, you asked him that. I'm like, well, what's he supposed to say to me? Look, let the man get his first NFL paycheck first before you start, trying to look 4 years down the way.
But I think he has gotten he's gotten paychecks because once you start going to training camp, you start doing your stuff that's working out and all that, you're still getting game checks every week, just not as much as the actual game check.
Okay. Yeah, but it's still to that point though. I mean, look, man. First of all, let's let him get through a first game before we start trying to have him looking 4 years down the way.
Would Jay-Z say, "Can I live?"
Yeah. I mean, look. First of all, I mean, look. They also acknowledge, what he signed for. It ain't Instacart money or Uber money. I mean, the dude got paid. He's got a nice second round kind of look. And I was talking with somebody just last week. Hell, our 7th rounder signed for like $3 million. I mean, that's I can't even remember a day when when 7th round draft picks were getting paid that kind of money. So look, man, he ain't hurting, and he's not worried about nothing. Like you said, he knows that if he just do your job, Bill Belichick, just do your job, everything else will work out for itself, whether it's here or somewhere else. He will get paid. He just has to do his job.
And it looks like he got a $5.2 million deal. 2.7 of it is guaranteed. So there's still a lot of money. That's a lot of bread.
Yeah, compared to you and our pocket, but he ain't going hungry no time soon.
Right. All right. We appreciate everybody that joined in on the Afternoon Gridiron. Remember, it's with Steve Walls of the W Show on 100.1 FM, Darren Smith of the Ship, 810 WHB Sports Radio. Remember, you can catch us every day after the Chiefs training camp practice. Tomorrow we're off, but we'll be right back on Wednesday to bring you more coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs training camp. For Steve Walls and Darren Smith, we out of here.